Figure 6-10 consists of 4 parts. They have kind of this C-shaped bracket, tensioning screw, a pivot, and then whatever this little arm is doing. So when making our decisions with 4 components, we could do this as a bottom-up assembly. There's no great advantage to doing it as a multi-body part unless this is a purchased part that's going to fit into an assembly, and we're really not detailing or going to do anything in addition to just having this as a easy to use component. Top down, justification for doing a top down might be that this is the first of about 20 sizes, and then I'm going to use top down as maybe a calculator or some type of useful geometry. So let's start with the C shape. No real issues with our geometry, and this is in metric. So I believe we've created a metric template. If not, I will refer you back to creating the templates. So let's go ahead and we'll get started. I'm going to just go to the front plane. There is some symmetry. I don't know as far as location what I'm really going to be doing with this. There's not really a mounting point or something to be concerned with. So I'm going to go with the corner rectangle, and we're going to attach it to the origin. And if I do the click, then I'm just going to bring it out to that side. So there's a tool under Sketch Tools. So going over to the Tools pull down, and if you haven't hit the little push pin, if you see the little arrow over here next to SolidWorks, you're going to expand out, hit the push pin, because I do kind of like to have those available. And then under Sketch Tools, there's a tool called Jog Line. I don't get to use that very much, but it is kind of handy at times where when you pick on the line, it's going to start to drag out and create that shape. Now I could have just as easily have sketched all of that, and it really wouldn't have been that big of a deal. So our decision, we have 20 on the top on this the 2 legs, the top and the bottom, and the gap. I got to find my overall. So 20 and 20, and we're not really given an overall. So the assumption would be that this is going to slide in and be fairly close. So if we're looking at a gap tolerance, we could go to the dimension of 10. So that would be another one of those we'd want to verify against an actual part, or look at our downstream data of what this ultimately is going to do. So that's going to drive some of my dimension choices. And let's see, we are still in the jog line. I'm trying to figure out why I'm not getting my end context. Alright, so we're in the smart dimension. And one more. Let's see if this is coming up now. No, I'm not seeing. I noticed another dimension strategy, but that may have been something that we're going to review in 2021 SolidWorks. So I'm just going to do the stack up, and that way if this needs to change, they can be individual. I'm not worried about it kind of squishing there. So we have an overall of 40, and our depth, well, to the center of the hole, there we go, 15. And that gives us our gap. Now their gap looks a little bit wider, like it would be 20, but since it's not called out, or I'm not seeing it, I have to make a decision about the actual functionality of this part. So let's go over into the features, extrude, and I would like for this to stay centered, so I'm going to go to mid plane. You can use blind in condition taking it backwards or forwards, pretty much whatever your preference. We have an overall width. Well, again, I don't see that dimension, but since the hole is at 15 millimeters, we can probably, maybe on the back of the part, the rear view has the 30, and then 30 to the top. So, and there's my 60. So that answered that question. So they hit it. So still in the command, so I can't make that change. And double click so that everything's highlighted. When I hit the 30, hit enter, that's going to go with the group. So we verified, came to the view that had the correct dimension in it. So that would probably not be good at 60, but if we do want to change it, I need to double click on the dimension, put in the correct value, and then we'll perform a rebuild. That'll allow it to adjust. Alright, so our next piece of geometry, let's go with the top, and I'll use the hole wizard, so S key. And I really should get in the habit of using the S key more, but there's also that trade-off of finding out where the other items are. So we're going to go with a 14 millimeter drill size, and we'll scroll down to 14, and its condition can be up to next, so it will stop at this next face. Alright, and since I pre-selected, I should not see a 3D sketch. Alright, now rotate it over into the sketch. So I'll just rotate a little bit so I can make sure I have the correct perspective. 13 millimeters off of the front face. And since it's centered, if I always want it to be centered rather than placing a dimension, I'll pick the point and then control select the origin or the midpoint, and we'll make those horizontal. Again, long leg is vertical, short leg is horizontal. That's how we'll create our position. For the threaded hole on the bottom that makes the intersection, let's go ahead back into the hole wizard. And this shows as an M12, so we'll pick a common thread form, metric, tapped hole. Let's go ahead and scroll down a little bit. And as these numbers get bigger, remember that the second number is the pitch. So a 1.25 is a finer thread than a 1.75. So for what this is doing, I think we would be safe with a coarser thread, so 1.5 or 1.75. I think 1.75 is fairly common. Tap drills and diameters, thread call out. We can add the thread class, which would be the in ANSI 2B. In the ISO would be the G and H. So when you see those designations, those relate back to the standard and how accurate the thread is going to be. So let's go ahead and accept. All right, so replaced. I need to do a hole wizard without pre-selecting. So we have an M10 on the back. So if I don't pre-select that face, I hit the S key, go right into the hole wizard. And again, if you don't want to use the S key, hole wizard is up here in the command manager, and it's located a couple other places too. So find the one that you're most comfortable using. And if I get you into the habit of using the S key, you'll probably use it more than I do for the features and some of the other items. All right, so we are at the hole specification, an M10. Sorry, let's go with an M10 by 1.25. And we look down through, we have our class of fit. Don't have to deal with too much else. And so if you see this 3D sketch, since I didn't pre-select, it's asking me, do I want to go into 3D sketch? And sometimes, rarely, I would not recommend 3D sketches if you can find a planar surface. It's a lot easier to control, a lot less confusing. but there are places where 3D sketches are handy, and we'll try and find one of those. So again, select and Control Select for the whole center and the origin, and this time long leg is vertical. Notice that this is a little darker bolded, so that's giving me my geometry. I have a couple of options here. We could draw the center lines. I could relate to the origin, or I could put the dimensions on. If this is going to change or have some variation, I might just go ahead and dimension. But let's use the relations. So the origin to the center point, we'll make that vertical. And if I want it to stay at the midpoint, I can right-click. Let's do that again. Right-click, select midpoint, and then select the whole location. Make that horizontal. So I can create a sketch with no dimensions that is fully defined just based on the relations. And if this grows or shrinks, that hole will always stay centered on the part. So let's go to a Control 7 for the isometric, and we need to save this. And I'll find my way back to my folders. And this is going to be, we need a new folder. So P6-10. And this is going to be my C bracket. And again, naming is kind of up to you. I hesitate to use part numbers in the file names because it makes it very difficult to relate to, general quick look. This is what I need. It just depends on the organizations that develop their internal standard. So we're going to go ahead and stop this video and then go on to the next part.